Eins, zwei, drei, uno, dos, tres, 1, 2, 3. Let's get into this. Welcoming worldwide Wrexham. I tell you what, welcoming every Wrexham fan around the world. Monday night, Notts County at the Racecourse Ground is going to be monumental. Absolutely monumental for this club. A win is definitely needed. A draw, I tell you what, draw doesn't leave us really empty-handed, but it certainly is not what Notts County is looking for. They're coming into the Racecourse Ground. They're looking for the 3 points. It's a damn good team coming our way. Both teams sitting on 100 points. It's monumental this season in the National League. I don't think we're ever going to see a season like this ever again in the National League. Both teams sitting on 100 points. Notts County 42 games. Wrexham 41 games already in. And after this game, Notts County has 3 games left and the Wrexham has 4 games left. So advantage Wrexham, but they got to get something out of this game. It cannot go down as a result of a loss. We've had one already. We don't need many, and we don't collect many. That's the 3rd on the season. But now, till the end of the season, I say we need to be perfect. But the most important thing, come Monday night, is not to lose. And remember, 2 massive teams coming in. It's going to be a fantastic game of football. I implore every Wrexham fan to go absolutely bazonkers nuts on the day and make that place the loudest place in Wales, because if they can hear you in, say, Swansea or Cardiff, then they know they're missing out on something special. But I've got to tell you, make it loud, be absolutely bazonkers, and if you've got any spare tickets, make sure it goes to a Wrexham fan. We need a load of Reds in the stadium. We need the noise to back up the guys. And I tell you, as for the game, we're going to plough through this, but listen, please like, subscribe and like you always do. Pass this around, share it around to every Wrexham fan you know, and let's build this channel purely to go live for Wrexham as much as we can. And remember, we're fast approaching 900 members right now. We need to get to 1,000. I ask you very sincerely, please pass this around to every Wrexham fan you know worldwide and get us to 1,000, because once we go to 1,000, as you know, I promise we'll have everything Wrexham live, and there's going to be daily shows even when we're not in season. So there's more opportunities to learn and hear and watch about the Wrexham, even when there's no games on. So please, pass it around, guys. Everybody you know, let's get everybody together. 1,000 subscribers. Once we get there, we go live, and you're going to love it, and so am I. Okay, let's take a look at the game. Wrexham taking Notts County. It's the biggest game in years, probably the biggest game you're ever going to see in your lives for Wrexham and for Notts County. Let's get into this right now. Okay, guys, let's get into some stats and form. You're going to love this, and I'll tell you what, like I say, I cannot wait for this game. I've been waiting for the Notts County game, April 10th. You know I've been talking April 10, April 10, April 10, April 10 for a long, long time. And I'll tell you what, it's here, it's on the doorstep. And I'll tell you what, I really do want to get a result out of this one. I know you do too, but as long as we don't lose, that's all I care about. If we can hold them or win, then that's going to be massive. But let's get into some stats, and let's get into some form. And let's start off with the head-to-head. Now, the head-to-head for Wrexham and Notts County. Scour the internet. Scour it, really. You won't find too much on there. You'll find some. But the best I can bring you is this, head-to-head. Wrexham, Notts County. Now, the first time Wrexham took on Notts County was 1958. I wasn't alive then, for you guys that think I was, but 1958 was when Wrexham played Notts County. To be precise, August the 27th, 1958. Who won? Wrexham 3-2. Yep, Wrexham won 3-2. Now, overall, the numbers that I can find right now, wins, draws and losses for the Wrexham and for Notts County, is 17 wins for Wrexham, 15 draws and 19 losses. So Notts County is edging it all time by 2 wins, but 15 draws and 17 wins as well for Wrexham. It's pretty decent. The last time these guys played each other, October the 4th, 2022, and it's a 1-0 win for Notts County at Meadow Lane in the National League. That first game in 1958, however, was in Division 3. How many of you have ever witnessed a Division 3 game for Wrexham? Come on, there's got to be a few of you out there. I can't be the only one. There's got to be a few of you out there have seen a game since 1958 in Division 3. Jot down below. Make a comment down below, guys, if you were witness to Division 3 or even Division 4. It'd be lovely to hear some of your sentiments of what you thought about it back in the day. But that's what we got so far on the head-to-head. Now, let's take a look at the stats of Wrexham as we start off the season right now. Okay, let's take a look at Wrexham's stats right now on the season. Taking a look, 31-7-3. That's 31 wins, 7 draws, 3 losses for 100 points, 2.44 points per game. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, right? On the home record, 19-1. That's 19 wins, 1 draw. No losses. We do not need a loss on Monday against Notts County. I personally believe the worst result I want to see is a 1-1. I do not want to lose this game. Above anything, we've got to get a draw out of this. If we take a draw, we're sitting good. We stay ahead of those guys on the goal, on the game difference, and we can make our own destiny. But we cannot afford to lose this one. Really, if we lose this one, it puts us behind the 8-ball bad style, and it really looks like Notts County could snatch first spot. So it's monumental that we get this game in the bag. Remember, we got to get a draw minimum, but a win would be lovely. Maybe a 2-1. That's what I'm thinking it could be, but we'll get to that in a little while. But the home record is 19-1-0. The away record, not bad at all. Not too bad. 12-6-3. 12 wins, 6 draws, 3 losses. So as you know, on the season, all the losses on the season have come away from home, which bodes well for Monday's game, which is at home. So looking at the result we had against Notts County earlier in the season, 4th of October 2022, we lost 1-0. That was a game that got away from Wrexham, but we lost 1-0 on the road. They're coming, Notts County is coming to the racecourse ground, which really, as you know, the home team always has the edge and always has the fans, and I want to see the fans go absolutely bazonkers nuts on Monday. Make it the loudest place in Wales, people. Make it unbelievably loud. Don't stop, because if you get under the skin of Notts County and you power the boys in red, they're going to go harder and faster for you, and that will be the point, is that you will be the 12th man again, pushing the team onto glory. Because let's face it, the Wrexham 10,000 roughly, when they're there, they're absolutely staunch behind the team, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop them. So be loud, aggressively loud, and make sure that they can hear you guys. Push the team on, and every time Notts County's on the ball, you know what to do. No disrespect, but they are the enemy on the day. A great club, great team, doing as well as Wrexham. The 12th man needs to stand up big time. So on the game last time out, yes, you know, we did lose 3-1. That one got away from us. Wasn't a bad game, but it's a game that can really power us to come up against Notts County. When you lose as a big team, you don't want to lose two in a row. Notts County haven't lost in a fair while. They're due a loss. This could be the game. What do you think? Drop down below. Make a comment down below. Your score. Who's the winner? Who's scoring the goals? Who's going to be the top scorer? Who's going to be a player of the season come the end of the season? So many things to ask you. But the last loss out, 3-1 against Halifax Town. That's FC Halifax Town. And as you know, Notts County's coming into the building, and it's going to be an interesting night, let me tell you. We'll get to the prediction later. But looking at Notts County, we've got to pay a lot of respect for Notts County, because they are a top team. And they, like I said weeks ago, they're not going anywhere. They're not going to drift away. We hoped they would, but they haven't. They've stayed toe-to-toe with Wrexham. And literally, it's coming down to a real dogfight Monday at the racecourse ground. And then they have 3 games after that. Wrexham has 4. But this is possibly the most important game on the season as we stand for both clubs. Now, looking on the record for Notts County, 30 wins, 10 draws, 2 losses for 100 points. That's 2.38 points per game. Wrexham's got 2.44 points per game, yet they sit second. That's because of the game in hand. Obviously, Notts County's first. Home record, 16-4-1. 16 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss for 52 points. The away record, 14 wins, 6 draws, 1 loss for 48 points. For 100 points total. Goals on the season, 106. That's 2.52 per game. Goals against, 36. And that's 0.86 goals per game if you want the stats. The last match was a 3-1 win over Wealdstone. And coming up, obviously, on Monday, it's the game against us at Wrexham. Luke Williams, the manager, has done a fantastic job. I got to tell you, we think Phil Parkinson's doing an amazing job, but spare a second for Luke. I mean, he's done an amazing job for them all the way through. Now, let's take a look at the last 5 games. Okay, guys, let's take a look at the last 5 games, head-to-head, Wrexham taking on Notts County. The last game was a 1-0 win for Notts County at Meadow Lane. Prior to that was a 2-1 win for Wrexham at Meadow Lane. Prior to that was a 3-1 win, and that was also in 2022, and that was for Notts County at Meadow Lane. After that, though, Wrexham takes a 1-1 against Notts County, and then on the 18th of May, 2021, so not even a year ago, 2 years ago, Wrexham lost 1-0 at home to Notts County. Now, looking at those head-to-head scorelines, I'm summarising that the score that's probably going to come around is probably more likely a 1-1, or for either team, a 1-0 or a 2-1. It's so evenly poised that I think that if Wrexham does win, it's by the goal. And if Notts County does win, they too are going to pip it by the goal. Now, if one of the teams hits the ground running and really has a fantastic day, you could see that 3-1 scoreline coming through for Wrexham. Could you see a 3-1 scoreline coming through for Notts County? I don't really think so much. Why? Well, after the loss against FC Halifax, it's like a kick up the ass for Wrexham. They're not likely to want to have that happen again. Big teams don't lose groups of games. They win groups of games. They lose one in a while. Notts County haven't lost in a while. They're due a loss. Wrexham just lost. They're not due a loss. So I'm thinking that, your 1-1 is possibly your likely score, but it could be pipped 1 goal either side. But I'm thinking if it goes really well, it's a 3-1 for Wrexham on the day. Now, the last 5 Wrexham games, reading off the board, Halifax Town, 3-1 loss. Prior to that, 5-1 win at Oldham Athletic, 3-0 win against York City, both those games at home, by the way. And then Bromley on the road, a 2-1 win for Wrexham. And then before that, a 1-0 win against Southend at Wrexham. Now, that game against Southend was a pretty tight game. Didn't really go to plan, but it was a battle of attrition. And Wrexham fought, worked hard. The crowd got behind them and stirred them along. And eventually, the 12th man acted as the 12th man and got it over the line with the team and 1-0 on the day. Now, Notts County, the last 5 games for Notts County on the weekend at home, they win 3-0 at Wealdstone, that's Meadow Lane. Altrincham away, they win 2-0. Notts County again at home, they win 4-0 against Scunthorpe United, good old Scunny. And then Barnet away, 1-1. And finally, 5 games ago, Notts County beat Eastleigh 3-1. Magical games. And I'll tell you what, the form does show you what can happen. Moving along. Okay, guys, talking about top scorers in the National League now. There's 2 of the top scorers in the National League that are going to be going head-to-head at the Racecourse Ground. One, Macaulay Langstaff, and the other guy, our very own Paul Mullin. Now, both these guys are up for top scorer on the season. By the way, Paul Mullin is still the National League's top scorer from last year, so he's the reigning Golden Boot in the National League. Your one and only Paul Mullin. Now, this year, there's 2 guys going great guns. Like I say, Macaulay Langstaff, Paul Mullin. Now, looking at Macaulay Langstaff, 26-year-old, 5'10", he knows where the net is, he knows where to be, he knows where to run to, he knows where to stay away from, and he knows how to trick out and fool defenders too. He's good on the ground. Got an instinctive finish, knows where to be. He's got 42 games this season with 41 goals, so he's a real goal scorer. If you want the seasons on the stats on the season, 41 games, league, 41 goals. In the FA Cup, 1 game, 1 goal. So 42 and 42 is what he is on the season. He's likely to end up as possible Player of the Year, which is something he's won before for the Notts County, and is likely to end up with being top scorer for both Notts County and the National League. You can also say the same about Paul Mullin. These 2 guys are going to absolutely look for goals on Monday and for the rest of the release season and get themselves to be the top scorer. Again, Macaulay Langstaff, 42 games, 41 goals. He's an absolute hotshot. And he's come up through the years, like if you take a look online and look at his track record, he's come up through the lower league teams where every year he seemed to have got bigger and bigger. I'm not talking height-wise, but he's played less games and more goals. His goal-scoring ratio, in other words, has gone through the roof, and it's still going through the roof right now. National League Player of the Month, August 2022 and September 22. So he's a guy that's still in form. He's literally fighting Paul Mullin for National League Golden Boot. So let's take a look at Paul Mullin, your one and only. On the season, 40 games, 34 goals in the league. FA Cup, 7 games, 9 goals. Now, points on the FA Cup. If you look at the FA Cup, 7 games in, no one's played 7 games so far. You got to be a low league team to get to that many games at this stage of the FA Cup. He's got 9 goals. He is still the league scorer in the FA Cup for 2022-2023. If he pulls that off as a National League player, that is absolutely, absolutely amazing. So keep your fingers crossed that nobody else from the final 4 teams in the FA Cup, your Manchester Uniteds, your Manchester Cities, your Sheffield United, and your Brighton Hove Albion, let's hope nobody fills the net. Let's hope for a couple of 1-0 wins in all those final 3 games. And then Paulie Mullin will be your 2023 FA Cup top scorer. So let's keep our fingers crossed for Paulie on that one. Now, on the Player of the Season, he's done the Player of the Season before. He's also got the Goal of the Season award for the National League. He's also, like I told you before, been the National League's Golden Boot winner and Player of the Season too. So he's got awards like you wouldn't believe. 28 years old, 5'10". I tell you what, Paulie is absolutely on the money. Now, let's take a look at some of the other you guys that could really impact this game and bring a goal or two. But let's face it, those 2 guys I just called, Paul Mullin and Macaulay Langstaff, definitely are going to be the league scorer or top league scorer this season. But who's your pick to win that trophy? Is it going to be Macaulay Langstaff, or is it going to be indeed Paul Mullin that ends up the National League's top scorer? Let me know down below and tell me what you're thinking about who's going to win the scoring race. Now, as for other guys that have got, good boots and know where to be and know how to finish and know how to think the game and where to place themselves throughout, with or without the ball, let's look at the danger men for Notts County. Firstly, you've got Ruben Rodriguez, 39 games in, 17 goals. Cedwyn Scott, 32 games, 14 goals. Adam Chickson, 41 games, 10 goals. And finally, Kevin Castro, 14 games, 4 goals. Apart from Macaulay Langstaff, those are the guys that you need to worry most about on the Notts County team. Those are the guys who could change it up. And Macaulay does like time on the ball once in a while. But like I say, those are the guys, along with Macaulay Langstaff, that can do the damage for Notts County. Now, on the other side of the fence, your one and only Wrexham AFC. I told you all about Paul Mullin. Excuse me. You know about Paul Mullin. There's no need for me to talk too long about that one. But Ollie Palmer, 17 goals on the season. Elliot Lee, 9 goals in the league, 12 on the season. Sam Dorby's got 6 on the season. Ben Tozer's got 4. And Thomas O'Connor's also got 4. So we can bring goals from anywhere as well. And otherwise, guys add 1 or 2 goals in maximum throughout the team, throughout the league. Let's face it, if you're a defender, you're not supposed to be scoring too many goals. If you're a forward, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So at the end of the day, the forwards get the goals. And I'm asking you one last time, who's your top scorer on the season? Is it Paul Mullin or is it Macaulay Langstaff? And those guys that we mentioned, I'm pretty sure a few of those guys are going to factor in the game on Monday when Wrexham takes on Notts County. Now, moving on. Now, moving along, the game prediction. What kind of game are we going to get? I got a feeling that the first 15 minutes is going to where we're sort of going to see 2 teams line each other up and try and trick each other out. The press is not going to be the most important. It's going to be the coverage. You don't want to be going too far down the field in the early part of the game. So I don't think you're going to see either team storm the net right from the start. You may see Wrexham come out in the first 15 and try and get that early goal. I would implore that to be an absolute top tactic. But I think in the duration of the whole 90 minutes, I think that the longer the score stays even, 0-0, the longer we're going to see people be a little bit too nervous to really explore too far out of their zone. It's going to make for a possible stop-start game. It's going to make for a very frustrating game. And I think the Wrexham fans need to be ready for Notts County to really frustrate us on the field and get the crowd calmed down. Or what you think I'm going to see is Notts County is going to play the ball around, kill the crowd, and hopefully not concede early. That's probably their first tactic. Wrexham's first tactic is to get the crowd in the game, passing the ball forward, speed in the lanes, speed in the passing lanes, get it out wide, cross it in the middle. Don't just go for Paulie Mullin. You've got other people to strike for. Sam Dorby can do damage. I like what Sam Dorby has been doing recently, and he's growing in stature with every game. So Sam Dorby, this could be a nice game for him. He's not really the guy that they're looking for, but some people would be looking for Ollie Palmer to do some damage here, the small man routine. Whatever we throw at Notts County has got to be precise. So passing lanes, the half spaces, everything's got to be on. The coverage has got to be phenomenal because remember, no disrespect, but we're not playing Eastleigh. We're not playing Yeovil. We're playing Notts County. They know how to cover. They know how to back up the passing lanes. They know how to split the half spaces into quarter spaces where you get no time on the ball, where as soon as you receive the ball, you get sided down to the ground. So there's going to be no time on the ball, and the first goal is going to be absolutely instrumental. On the day, if we can get that early goal within the first 15 minutes, fine. If not, we've got to start restructuring for the second 15 minutes, which was more of a patient, more of a deliberate build-up, but the same process that we've seen all season, and for that matter, since last season too. Down the line, I want to see Mendy play a better game this day. Against Halifax, he didn't have the most instrumental time down the left. Elliott was fantastic. Beautiful game again. Bring another goal. Bring another goal, Elliott. Absolutely. Elliott Lee, fantastic. Cannon played instrumental on the day. Nobody had a bad game, but nobody really had that fortune in their own zone to make the difference. Once we got that first goal, we could have been 2-0 up, especially when Tunnicliffe smashed it off the bar, right? So we've really got to execute on the day. There can be no waste in front of goal. Shoot, score, make it happen. Shoot, score, make it happen. The crowd's got to be loud, like I tell you. And you got to say, if you don't hit the target, you're going to lose. So we only need one goal. It's going to be a very precise game, very deliberate after the first 15 minutes. And come the last 15 minutes, get ready to be frustrated if it's still even. And by the way, if you would give me a 1-1 draw right now, I'd snatch your hand off. I'd literally snatch your arm off. If we win, fantastic, but we cannot afford to lose this game. Cannot afford to lose it because it prolongs the season and it messes up the rest of the system, what we've got moving forward, i.e. getting ready for other games, getting ready to go to North America. Remember, Chelsea, Man United, the big off-season in the summertime. I'll be bringing that to you because I'm over there. So, at the end of the day, we got to hit the net, we got to be precise, no wastage, cover the spaces, and play a Wrexham game. I thought last time out, we were a little bit hesitant on some of the plays, but we never gave up. And once again, massive turnout at FC Halifax Town by the Wrexham. It was fantastic to see you. But let's make the racecourse ground absolutely ballistic. And let's not welcome Notts County. Let's scare them off the ball. Every time they get the ball, get on them. And every time we got the ball, praise the guys. Cheer them on. Be that 12th man and make it happen. On the day, I'm looking for the 1-0 Wrexham. I'd love a 2-1. I'd absolutely love a 3-1. But I think you got to say, these two teams are not going to dish out much. They're not going to soak up all the pressure and get scored on. They're going to soak up the pressure and look to counter. And like I say, both play great football. All season have played great football. And you got to say, pay respect to Notts County and pay respect to the Wrexham. These two teams are worthy of chunking it out for top spot. And I'll tell you what, I couldn't think of a better place to fight it out other than at Wrexham on a beautiful day in Wales. Get ready for it, guys. I'll tell you what, it's going to be massive. The next game up for Wrexham is Barnet away, April 15th at the Hive. And Notts County's next game away is Woking away. And let's put it this way. Wrexham has 4 games left after this. Notts County has 3. Enjoy the game. Get into it. Come back for the post-game. I tell you what, I am absolutely pumped out of my skin for this game. I want this more than anything. I want to win more than anything, but I'll take a draw. How about you? What's your score? What result would you take? What are your fears? What are your aspirations? What are your thinkings coming your way? Are you worried about this game? Is it really making you nervous? Are you going to be in the crowd trembling? Or are you going to be in there thinking, we're in this. We're very much in this. And I tell you what, we're going to stick to our plan, stick to the game we play, and our guys are going to bring up a 3-point win again. Now, I'll say this much. Thank you very much for joining us one more time. It's lovely to have you. And we really do say thank you and are very respectful to you guys joining us every day, every show, every post-game, every pre-game, and every show we do for the Wrexham. You're really bringing in the numbers, building this channel. So thank you and pass it around. But I say massive thank you for making this channel grow and making it so much fun to entertain you and to have you come back every time. Mean it from the bottom of my heart, guys. I'm Wrexham till I die, just like you. And I'm telling you now, this is the best story in football, period. Please click below. There's a link down below for your 1958 football season. You might find that interesting. Now, how many did you see Wrexham play in Division 3? Remember, that link is down below. Next up, the post-game against Wrexham's nemesis of the league right now. But we can take them out. But the next up is the post-game against Notts County. Join me after the game. I hope to be bringing you happy smiley faces and happy smiley news and happy smiley everything, especially seeing as it's Easter. So happy Easter, guys. Get ready for an Easter Monday barn burner at the racecourse ground. And I'm looking for a 1-0 win, but I'll take a draw if we have to. Cheers, guys.